Good morning, mountains. We are live here in Warfield, Kentucky, as we got JJ Pruitt to my left and Bradley Dameron from the mean streets of Marbone Creek to my right, and I am Darryl McCoy. Guys, good morning. How's your morning going?
Good morning to you as well, Darryl. My morning's been pretty solid, with the exception of the traffic this morning. I got stuck behind a lot of school buses and the road work.
Oh, so that's why you was late.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. So I apologize, audience. I was running a little late, and he didn't want to start the show without me. So
JJ says that stuff, Bradley, but you want me to show you what JJ really does?
Wait, what?
Look at this.
Oh man, that was after 3 games.
No, that was the other day. Selling.
How you gonna do
that? Was selling the other day.
Hey, putting on that professional face is exhausting, Darryl.
Look
As
at
you can see, I was just looking out the window. If you look closely, you
can
see.
Is that what it does?
Hey, you can't see my eyes. I got my Ray-Bans on, so I'm good to go. How you gonna do me like that? Just me looking out the window.
Yeah. So I'm sure it was the school buses that held you up.
Hey, it was some school buses, Z's, triple Z's.
So as obviously today we'll get started September 11th, 2024. This day in history, we'll let you read them off, and then we'll get to the big one. So go ahead, JJ, let us know.
So the year was 1941 when construction began on the Pentagon in Arlington County, Virginia, one of the largest office buildings in the world. It is the headquarters of the U.S. Department of Defense, including the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force.
And
yeah, it was 1941.
1941.
Yes, sir. And then the year was 1985 when American professional baseball player Pete Rose registered his 4,192nd career hit, breaking the record set by Ty Cobb.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it's a travesty that he's not in the Hall of Fame.
I agree 100%, Bradley. What's your thoughts on put Pete in the Hall?
Well, I look at it this way. Pete Rose bet on some baseball games. Ty Cobb once got mad and ran from the stands and beat up a guy in a wheelchair, which is worse.
I had heard that story. I mean, I had heard he was a racist, but I hadn't heard, I don't know how true that is, but I hadn't heard that story.
Ty Cobb was a mean man. He's a sketchy dude. So
yeah,
I mean, put Pete in the Hall. It's ridiculous.
Well, I'm the top. I think Pete and Barry Bonds, McGuire. I think all of them should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, well, I do too. The steroid era, especially because almost everyone was doing it, man.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and I just think it's a sad situation that they're not, that every one of them ain't in the Hall of Fame.
And I'm not 100% how sure like what they have like in the Hall of Fame like building, but there should be like a room separate. Like if you're gonna try and not put them in the Hall of Fame, at least put an infamy room. Be like, these were dark moments in history, from the Black Sox scandal to the Pete Rose scandal, to the steroid scandal. Like, don't completely try to erase history, because, Barry Bonds hit way too many home runs to do that. And Pete Rose got way too many hits. I mean, you can't have the two of your best offensive players ranked number one statistically, not in the Hall, or not at least telling the story.
They do tell the story, JJ. They have like memorabilia there. They just don't have them enshrined in it.
Okay.
So but either way, Pete Rose, Charlie Hustle, one of the best, and kids these days need to know what it's like to play like a real baseball player.
He was a switch hitter too, wasn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, I think he a lot of his hits came from the opposite hand as well.
It did.
But lastly, we
player manager as well.
Oh yeah. Well, we obviously have the most famous moment in history for this day specifically, and it's obviously the darkest. The World Trade Center and Pentagon was attacked by terrorists. On this day, 19 militants associated with the terrorist group Al-Qaeda hijacked 4 planes in the United States, crashing 3 into the World Trade Center and to the Pentagon as well. And the 4th plane, ended up getting overridden by the passengers on there, but it still ended up, the people didn't survive that one as well.
Yeah.
So Darryl, what is your fondest memories of 9/11?
I can remember where I was at. My mom, she used to be a maid for Don Blankenship, Air Crash, and all them. So I was at Gary Rash's house with my mom. She was cleaning that day, and I just stopped by there to talk to her that morning. And I remember sitting there, and I was sitting on the news. The first tower hit, and then sitting there and watch it, and then the second tower, and I just remember, the thoughts going through your head, how scared it was. Are we going to war? Will we have war on our homeland? Something never thought would happen, and credit George Bush. We got sucker punched, and he fought back.
Absolutely,
and I think a lot of presidents would have took out on him and not went to war, but I think we had the right one in at that time.
Absolutely, and during that time period, this is interesting. He had one of the highest approval ratings ever.
Yeah,
during that specific time period, his approval rating got up to I think like 91%.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And I'll say this about George W. Bush was not a perfect president at all, but
he's one of my favorites, though, Bradley.
Yeah, he's one of mine too, and I'll tell you why. He gets judged on a lot of things, but the thing is about 9/11 and all that with no president had ever, well, at least since Pearl Harbor, basically, had to endure something like that on U.S. soil. So that was a very tough situation to be put into, and we can worry about the blame and all that. I have my opinions on that, but that was a very tough time, and I think I do agree he was the right president at that time.
Yeah, I agree 10,000% on that, Bradley. And as you sit here, this right here, also an iconic picture. For you guys that don't remember, there was a lot of people that didn't make it that day. Firefighters, policemen, people went to work, thought they was going to come home that day, and we lost a lot of people. But right here in the bottom of this photo, you can see Ladder 118 crossing over the Brooklyn Bridge on their way to the World Trade Center. This is their last known photo. Every single firefighter on that truck perished just a few minutes later. So we vowed to never forget. So great situation. Great photo there to remember them firefighters.
You know what? One of the things I remember, one of my favorite, but one of the best stories out of 9/11, I think.
What?
Do you remember? The actor Steve Buscemi?
No.
You've seen him in movies. I guarantee you have. If you look the man up, you've seen him. But he used to be a firefighter in New York, and when that happened, he was in New York. And you know what he did? He went to his old firehouse, put on his gear, and went to work.
Yes, wow. That out there, hats off to that man. Did he end up living?
Yeah, he's alive. He's still alive and all that. And he did a lot of the sifting through the rubble.
Now, what's he? What kind or what actor what's he playing?
A lot of stuff. He's not usually the lead role.
Can you pull Steve Buscemi up for me?
It's Buscemi, his last name.
Okay, right there, that picture, you can see all the people. I mean, I couldn't imagine. You can see them all looking out the windows and trying to figure, do I jump? Do I burn? Do I? What's going on here?
Yeah, in that photo specifically, every flight of stairs and every elevator was severed.
Yeah,
right below. So there was no way of them getting out.
No, they had no possible way to get out, and I could not imagine what was going through them people's minds. But I hope we never forget that day. and make sure that day never happens again.
You know what's sad to me? Like, I think the most.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, he's on Con Air and Grown Ups and
all the happy Adam Sandler films.
Yeah,
I think for me personally, the thing about 9/11 that's most fascinating to me now is the new generation that wasn't born during that time period, and how they can't really, like they don't understand, like they truly don't. Like there are people out there that make 9/11 jokes all the time, and I'll tell them like, look, you can joke about anything, but don't joke about something like that. Like you didn't see people jumping on live television, like you didn't see a lot of the things that we saw, and it was really sad. And it's fascinating to me that there's a new generation out there that just wasn't there, that to see it on the news or.
I agree 100%. People, let us know where you was at that day in history whenever that fell. And let's see. Heath Markham says the Big Red Machine. Good morning, Heath. As we get ready this day in history, let's go over a few more things real quick. 1916, the first self-service supermarket, Clarence Sanders, opened the first Piggly Wiggly in Memphis, Tennessee on this day in history.
Oh, wow.
Let's see if we got any other notable ones here. Spain leaves the League of Nations due to Germany joining on this day in history. Ruth hits his 50th home run during MLB record 60 home run season in New York 6-2 loss to the St. Louis Browns at Yankee Stadium in 1927.
Oh, wow.
Ty Cobb's last hitting appearance pops out against the Yankees on this day in history. So speaking of Ty Cobb, little 6 degrees of separation there, JJ.
Yeah. The irony.
Yeah. And then
well, I mean, I thought the biggest one, the most ironic one, was the Pentagon began construction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. That's very ironic. I'd never heard that on September 11th is when they began construction, and then it was ended up, and listen, that could have been a lot worse at the Pentagon.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just got lucky that it just took out that one wing, but I read some things where the plane could have very well hit other parts that could have damaged a lot more than the Pentagon, and luckily the Pentagon now they got to redo a lot of it, but it just tough situation. There whenever I could not imagine them people's families, what they was going through. Even the people that wasn't on them planes, like people that had family flying that day, couldn't imagine what was going through. And I'm sitting here looking right now, they're having the ground zero ceremony today, as you can take and watch it on Fox News right now. I see Joe Biden to the right, and then it's got Donald Trump and J.D. Vance over to the left. I couldn't they ain't got it up there right now, so I couldn't tell if Kamala Harris was there or not.
I'm sure she showed up. I got an interesting one for you, Darryl. I was watching a documentary. It was one of the 9/11 ones they came out with a couple of years ago. It was One Day in America. One of the guys that they interviewed was actually, at the World Trade Center whenever that happened, and he ended up saving somebody. And right when he got out of the tower, the other plane crashed into the south one, and 2 or 3 members of his family was on that plane.
Yeah.
So that's awful.
Well, there it is. Kamala is there, and it looks like Tony Blair. Is that Tony Blair? That's all right.
Kind of looked like him.
Yeah. And Joe. Let's see. Frank Robinson ties rookie record with 38 home runs on this day in history. Let's see if we got anything else notable here. Beatles form Morn York Ltd. The Beatles guitarist George Harrison forms Morn York Ltd. Music Publishing Company on this day in history. Let's let's see. Rolling Stones has their 4th appearance on the Ed Sullivan Show. Performed 3 songs, including "Paint It Black." On this day in history, Bradley. I know Bradley's a big rock guy.
Yeah,
Jimi
Paint It
Hendrix.
Black's one of my favorite songs, actually.
Oh wow! The 1970 American rock guitarist Jimi Hendrix gives what becomes his final interview with M.E.'s Keith Austin in England. So 1970, Ford Motor Company introduces the first North American subcompact model, the Pinto. So the let's see,
The infamous Ford Pinto, man.
yep.
Yeah, I think those are nice cars.
So
They used to catch on fire easily.
I know there was something that was wrong with them. I can't remember what it was, but they did have some kind of defunct. That might have been it.
I think the problem with the Pinto was they kept catching on fire.
Yeah, they kind of look like a pinto bean.
Yeah, same thing with the Pontiac Fiero. Pontiac Fiero looked awesome, but they caught on fire left and right.
Yeah, them Pontiac Fieros. You know, I've seen some people put body kits on them, and they look like Lamborghinis. 1977, the Atari 2600, originally known as the Atari Video Computer System, Atari VCS, is released in North America, revolutionizing the video game industry. So,
wow.
Bradley, I can remember many days sitting playing Ataris at my cousin's.
Played Asteroids a lot, man.
Asteroids, and then there was a tennis game that you'd play. I can't remember what the name of it was, but the Atari, that's the first video game that I ever remember. Now, as far as I know, was it the first?
I'm not sure if it was the first. There were a few that were back then. Off the top of my head, it was definitely the most famous and popular of the first line of video games. But I don't know if it or like ColecoVision or something like that. I don't know which one of those came first. But it's kind of weird. Atari almost crashed a video game system as well, or a lot of bootleg games did. I don't know if you ever remember the Atari game E.T.
Yeah.
It was so bad. They made so many copies of it, and it was so bad. And then word got around, it didn't sell. And they basically took a bunch of those old copies and put them in a landfill.
And trying to think, Atari. No, I think that was Nintendo. Was Nintendo they was the one that had pro wrestling?
Yeah, like Starman and the Amazon.
Starman, yeah, and you had the guy that had the claw
Giant Panther. I remember that game, man. I used to play that game all the time.
Yeah, so we got a lot of comments coming in. Heath Markham says the positioning of the fuel tank made the vehicle susceptible to rupture and explosion upon rear end collisions. So that was the big thing there. And then said, hats off to the teachers' schools that are teaching our kids about 9/11. Said his boy came home a couple days ago talking about what he had learned about the tragedy that day. Yes, that's something that all teachers, JJ, should make sure that we teach.
I've always been curious of what, the way that they teach, some of these events that have happened since I've been out of school.
In our
like,
like
the recession, 9/11. I don't know if the pandemics, if that's too recent, the COVID pandemic.
It's pretty wild to think about, guys, because to us, something like 9/11 is very vivid in our memory.
Yeah, I still remember it like it was yesterday.
And to those kids, it's in the same boat, for them as like World War II or something.
Mm-hmm.
Because
JJ, that brings us to our birthdays, September 11th.
All right, let's see. We got an individual by the name of Robert Laurel Crippen. He was a U.S. astronaut who piloted the first ever orbital test flight of the U.S. space shuttle program.
So, okay.
So that's a pretty good one. We've got the artist Moby, if you're familiar with his work.
Yes, I am.
We've got Tom Landry. We've
Okay.
got Bear Bryant.
All right.
We've got Ludacris, one of my favorite rappers. And this one's more of a dark one, but it's still a birthday. Dylan Klebold.
Oh yeah,
Columbine shooter.
Oh wow! So the Columbine shooter was born on September 11th.
Yeah.
And then on Hitler's birthday, he done the shooting.
Mm-hmm. Which was your birthday as well,
Yeah.
right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, man, did not know that. It's odd how things work out sometimes.
Yeah. Crazy coincidences.
So let's go over to the old Facebook. Let's see if we got any notable birthdays here. Jackson Topping, Chapmanville, West Virginia. Happy birthday, Jackson. Caleb Tackett, he is a photographer there in the Belfry area. Happy birthday.
I graduated with Caleb.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They do you know, let's see. I don't know this guy.
What's their name?
And I don't think he's anybody birthday that we want to shout out. Greg Horn. Happy birthday, Greg Horn. The father of the Horn twins, played at Johnson Central, ended up playing at UPike. And then Bill Lusk. JJ, you got to meet Bill over at Chapmanville.
Yeah.
We interviewed him during halftime, and Bradley talks to him quite a bit.
Yeah, Bill's my old buddy from years ago. You know what? You can't really be around man athletics at all without being around Bill's son. I'll say that Bill is pretty integrated into that, and great guy.
Wealth of knowledge as well.
Great guy. He usually ends up sitting next to me at the Civic Center during the West Virginia State Tournament.
Okay. The happy birthday, Bill Lusk. So, guys, as we move on here, we're going to take our first commercial break. When we come back, we're going to take a look. You guys want to start this Monday morning. You want to get it a little brighter with a buzzer beater. You want to see a buzzer beater that happened yesterday?
Yes, I do want to see
absolutely. We'll do that when we come back. And guys, also today is Wednesday, the last day you'll see the startup show this week. So we will pick our games later on today. And we got a host of great topics for you. Make sure you tune in here all day long on the Startup Morning Show. Be right back. Award-winning tire shop that focuses on customer service that's family-owned and family-operated. Stop by and see our friends Jeremy and Chasta at Punk's Tires. If you have a hectic work schedule and you're looking for a non-stressful, convenient way to buy tires, take advantage of Punk's Tires appointment Saturdays. If they don't have the tire you're looking for, they guarantee it to have it the next day. Punk's Tires can take care of all your needs in tires, wheels, wheel alignments, brakes, rotors, minor mechanic work, and more. They'll treat you like family from the second you walk through the door. Come see us in Virgie, Kentucky, or give us a call at 606-639-TIRE. That's 606-639-TIRE.
Wear a lot of hats. They're coaches, volunteers, church members, neighbors, someone who's there when you need them, especially when you need them most. That may be a lot of hats, but they're all the perfect fit. Kentucky Farm Bureau, big on commitment.
We are back here on the Startup Morning Show. JJ Pruitt, Bradley Dameron, and Darryl McCoy here as we are sitting here looking. I've took and sorry, I was looking at one of these other media networks. Talking about how they how many states are following them. Bradley, right now, D&D Sports Network has we have all 50 states. We have multiple viewers in all 50 states. And the last I looked, it was 27 different countries that we are seen in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if people ever really fully grasp how big our reach is sometimes, because
Yeah.
I don't even always fully grasp how big our reach is at times, if that makes sense.
No.
But then you come across someone like, I've told stories before, but you occasionally come across someone, you go like, oh, here's this Division I coach from a different state. He's like saying, oh yeah, I'm looking at so-and-so or something like that.
Well, we got our good friend Adam Thomas says, good morning, guys. Make sure you go see our friends at the Pallet King.
Absolutely.
The Pallet King, great place. It's where we got a lot of the equipment that's being used for today's show.
Oh, yeah.
You can also get household items. If you're doing remodeling, I highly suggest you go there before you go to the big box store, because you can get stuff at discounted prices. And we'll be stopping by Adams later this week, because we got a big Shelby Valley game on Saturday. Yeah, breaking news, Bradley. Middlesboro has canceled on Shelby Valley, so they will not be playing Middlesboro on Friday night. Shelby Valley picked up Eastern out of Ohio, and will be playing them at 7 o'clock on Saturday. So JJ will be probably on that game with Eugene and Ronnie. So
absolutely,
he'll get his first taste of running the computer and the camera.
That's quite a change for Shelby Valley as far as the opponent.
Yeah, Eastern's only I think they've only lost one game in 2 years.
Yeah, Eastern's had different times where they've been okay and times where they've been not so great. But that'll be a really interesting game. It's always fun whenever teams from another state come in, whenever they play each other, because you get a look into that.
I agree 100%. And guys, as I promised before we went to break, I said we're going to get today started with a buzzer beater. Check out this buzzer beater by Emma Dixon. This was against Paintsville. Emma ended up finishing this game with 3 threes and 13 points. But check out the buzzer beater, and what makes it is the flex afterwards. Little Emma Dixon throwing up the guns as she hit the buzzer beater. Not only got the buzzer beater, but got the steal that led to the buzzer beater.
You know what? You get a steal and you hit a buzzer beater, you could throw up the guns.
Yeah, this young lady, she's one of the top young players in the mountains. She transferred from Betsy Lane. She was a superstar there, transferred to Belfry this year, playing for Matt Thornsberry and Amanda Thornsberry there at Belfry Middle. But this is a girl, she'll have a chance one day to be 15th Region Player of the Year. I mean, this girl's that good. She puts in the work, goes to Corey Hayes at Hayes Training System. So hats off to Emma for that great moment as she got to motivate her team moving forward. Now, that was the buzzer beater going into halftime, guys.
Hey, a buzzer beater is still a buzzer beater at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's very impressive.
And Bradley, would you like to see another shot from one of our on and off again co-host of the show? Here's daughter.
Yes, I would like to see that.
Do you know who I would be referring to?
Well, if I'm thinking you may be talking about maybe a McCoy.
Justin McCoy. So let's take a look at his daughter Layla. This is her first ever basket.
Oh, okay.
Check this out. Layla McCoy got her first basket, comes in big fashion as she nails a 3-pointer.
I like the hurry lay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, it sounded like that was at the buzzer, didn't it?
It did. You heard the buzzer
Yeah.
sound just a few.
Hurry, Lay!
It was. That's why they were saying hurry lay.
It was a buzzer beater.
Get the floor.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go, Layla. Hopefully, her older sister, Callie McCoy, has had many buckets in her career, and hopefully Layla has half as many in hers. So
If that's her first bucket, I would imagine that there are many more to come.
Well, guys, we obviously got to start today with the big news. Jeremy Pinson says, "Good thing she doesn't shoot like her daddy." ain't that the truth, Jeremy? As I got my Punk's Tire shirt on today.
I got my Punk's Tire shirt on as well. It's just a
little, do you?
Yeah, it's a little cold outside, but yeah, I'm representing for sure.
It does not, tell him, Bradley, it doesn't work if you got it covered up, right?
It was cold outside.
So that's where you put the Punk's Tire shirt on over the other shirt.
Yeah, there you go.
That would have made sense. It's like 42 degrees outside.
Yeah, Punk's
and then it's like 50 in here.
But what? That's you're hiding the Punk's Tire, JJ.
I mean, yeah. Let's see.
Now
you're hiding the sponsor.
Sun's out, guns out. JJ,
I wouldn't say water guns, maybe.
There we go.
Yeah,
now me and JJ are twinning.
We're good to go now.
Now we just need Bradley, Jeremy, to get Bradley his Punk's Tires gear.
Yeah, you don't see my shirt much. The hat will be the big one, Jeremy. I'll be like a NASCAR driver. I'll just have the
have the logos out. Well, guys, the big news coming out of yesterday, obviously, was the debate. The U.S. presidential debate 2024, Donald Trump representing the Republican Party versus Kamala Harris representing the Democratic Party. Guys, did you get a chance to watch last night?
I'm not going to lie to you. I watched about 15 minutes of it, and they did exactly what I expected them to do. I mean, they might have done a little bit more after I cut it off.
I watched the entire thing.
For the first 15 minutes, all I heard was they asked, this individual a question. They bragged about what they've done and what the other one hasn't done. And then they asked this individual a question. They say, well, this is my plan. His plan sucks. It's pretty much, more pivoting than anything.
I myself, I don't think either one of them looked good in it. To me, there was reports beforehand that ABC had handed Kamala the questions ahead of the debate, and that, to me, that was clearly done because you could tell she was very well informed. Every single question, she had everything she was going to say written out. It was obvious. Listen, if you don't believe Kamala Harris was handed them questions beforehand, you're a fool, because go back and see how in depth every question she went and how she was right on task. This woman does not speak like that. I've seen her speak before. She knew it. And then this is a conspiracy here. I don't know if this is true, but one thing I noticed during the debate was them bright pearl earrings. Now, they're saying them earrings is the same one sold by the Nova company, a startup Germany company, where it's a hearing aid in the pearls. So the pearls have hearing aids in it. So that's the conspiracy out right now. And if you look, it looks exactly like what it is.
I swear, I try to avoid the conspiracy theories because they'll make you crazy.
Do you believe that?
I mean,
they're awful.
It's
look at them.
Yeah,
see,
it's awful. I mean,
they're close. Look at that. Even to the pendant that holds it. That's an odd pendant that holds it. Normally, pearl earrings, you won't have a backing like that. And look at the backing. You see how it stands out?
Yeah, that's pretty good one. That's a good one.
Yeah. I mean,
I
what do you
mean,
think, Bradley?
it's not enough for me to say that it is that, but could I believe that someone would have that? Absolutely. Listen,
Well, Bill
man,
Clinton did famously back in the day, had an earpiece in his ear.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
yeah, I mean, politics is a dirty game, man. It's a dirty game, and can I believe that someone would do that? Yes. And that's not enough evidence for me to say for sure that that's it, but I'm not dismissing it either. You know what I'm saying?
Well, let us know what you think at home, folks. We want to know what you're thinking. You guys can also give us a call on the Double Quick hotline, 606-230-8911. That's 606-230-8911. Get it on the double at Double Quick hotline. Give us a call today, or give us your comments in the Jim Mar Services comment section. So, as we sit here, Jeremy Penson says representing your inside, JJ.
It's cold.
And
I'm representing.
But watching the debate last night, I don't think there was really anything of substance that really come out of it. It's everything that we already knew. Now, the one thing I thought Kamala didn't look good is she is completely flipped on fracking. And I think, and she flipped on the border situation as well. Now she's wanting a wall. It seems like she's, knew that, okay, some of my stances are going to put me behind. Well, let's see what, makes everybody want to vote for Donald Trump. And then she's, oh, yeah, I'm for that too. That's almost what Kamala Harris is seeming like. And don't get me wrong. I thought Trump, I don't think he looked the greatest out of last night's election or debate either.
I do agree. She's switched on some positions, and it seems a little weird, some of the positions she's switched on. He didn't look good either. I mean, I found out, I didn't watch the full thing. I did watch a lot of clips and get caught up. I did find out that this is apparently a meal for some people. And she didn't like that, by the way, me just grabbing her. But I mean, the last alien I knew who was eating cats was Alf. I mean, that was, Alf, for you young people, you don't know who that is.
Yeah.
But
he loved cats.
He did. He loved them, man. Loved them on like bread with like lettuce and tomato. But I mean, there were some different things where he looked a little bit wacko as well. I mean, it was not the best showing for our country. I'll say that.
No, and I still go back to thinking, are these really the two best candidates that we got?
No. That's my thought.
They, like I said, I'm a big Trump fan, but at the end of the day, I think he's the worser of two evils. And, I like a lot of what Trump says. I like that he don't back down, and he really uses, every time he speaks, he tells the story about him sitting down with the leader of the Taliban. Mm-hmm. Whenever he hands them the picture of their home, and
he says, if you touch any hairs on these individuals, I'm gonna.
Well, now the guy asked him what he said. Well, why did you hand me a picture of my home? And he said, if you touch any of these individuals, you'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
Yeah.
So, I like that story by Trump, but. Again, I think ABC blatantly gave Kamala Harris, the questions, and we'll still have to see. It will come out if she had that earpiece or not.
But even if they did give him the questions as well, I mean, he uses the same strategy.
Yeah,
he brags about what he did. He talks about what they didn't do, and. That's pretty much.
Now, one thing that, the thing that I think, some stuff that makes Trump look bad, and I think a lot of people may get a kick out of, is the situation where he said let's they was talking about some decision, some bill that needed signed, and said that Kamala and her campaign's like, let's go upstairs and wake Joe up. He said at 4 p.m. and get him to come down and sign this bill. And so little childish stuff like that, I think makes Trump look a little worse than what he should. But again, he's must see TV.
Mm-hmm.
He is must see TV. I tell you, the one thing I've learned about that debate, if I just look quickly on Facebook, is that people saw what they wanted to see. If they went to that debate and they were for Trump, they think Trump looked great and Kamala looked terrible. If they went in that debate and they were for Kamala, they think the exact opposite. I've seen both. I mean, I wish I'd taken a screenshot in 2 back-to-back messages. There was one message praising Trump's debate performance, and the next post was praising Kamala's.
Yeah, and I thought Kamala spoke better than Trump, and a lot of that could have been she did have the questions and she may have had an earpiece, so that could have helped as well. But and the one thing that I did notice is it seemed like ABC was more that, especially the guy, he was more geared toward attacking Trump because he was asking. Every question was directly about situations that Trump underperformed in or didn't, do, to where, the girl, sometimes she would cut Kamala off, but, at least it seemed like they was, on attacking, what the presidential, regime is doing right now. Instead, they went after Donald Trump, and that was clear to me. If you listen to the questions, it was like, I forgot what, they was talking about the Charlottesville stuff, the Capitol, the stuff at the Capitol, and they kept pushing him on an answer to that, and so
which I'd love to have the answer myself, but he's not going to answer a question like that.
Yeah, well, they just asked him if he had any regrets from that day, and he said that he offered 10,000 National Guard troops to Nancy Pelosi to help with the situation, and she denied it, and so he kind of dodged the answering it. So, but tough situation there, guys. It is Wednesday. We're going to pick some football games and a lot more coming back. We got blind draw coming up next. And then we're also, as Bradley and our guy Joe Kinzer has teamed up, has the statistical leaders in the mountains. We'll tell you all about that when we come back here on the Startup Morning Show with JJ Pruitt, Bradley Dameron, and Darryl McCoy. We'll be right back.
Of Central America, head to Sal's Steakhouse. Sizzle your senses with mouthwatering steaks, juicy burgers, savory chicken, and fall-off-the-bone ribs. Sal's Steakhouse, where your taste buds will thank you. Unleash the flavor at Sal's. Taste tradition, taste the difference.
Are now available at Kentucky Mountain Health Alliance Little Flower Dental Clinic. Same day crowns. No more temporary impressions and wearing temporary crowns. Same day crowns. Now available at Little Flower Dental Clinic. We also offer cleanings, fillings, extractions, root canals, and bridges. Call for an appointment today at 487-9505. We accept most major insurances, Medicare and Medicaid, and even a sliding fee scale. Little Flower Clinic, your medical home in the mountains.
We are back here on the Startup Morning Show. JJ Pruitt, Bradley Dameron, and Darryl McCoy here, guys, as we're getting started. One thing that I found out yesterday, and let me make sure I get the exact quote here. I do not know where this come from, or why it even come about. But what's the most famous kid station that you know, Bradley?
Kids TV station?
Yeah.
Nickelodeon.
All right. Do you know what Nickelodeon means in Latin?
I do not.
I don't care about God.
Well, that might be true, but there's also, if you go deep enough, there are some weird words that if we use this word in English somewhere else, then it would mean something completely different.
I thought I've seen this Facebook on post, and it said, what does Nickelodeon say in Latin? And I was like, that can't be true. And I went and Googled it, and that's what it says. So it interesting. It'd be interesting to see who the owners of it is and how it come about.
Yeah, I'll just say this: like, I've heard some funny ones that aren't appropriate for the airwaves. Like if you go listening to what certain things mean in other languages, it's they can be vastly different.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So as we get started, Bradley, we're going to do blind draw first. Does that sound good?
Hit me with it.
This is always good, and it keeps JJ on his feet too over here as he has to try to figure out what we're going to first. Here we go.
Which one are we going with first?
Michigan judge removed from bench after declaring I'm a new racist in leaked video.
Oh, yeah. Let me find this one.
Here
we go. The blind draw, the very first one of the day. Judge Kathleen Ryan was removed from the bench in Detroit last month, with new details of her unspecified misconduct now surfacing. According to local news affiliate WXYZ, audio was secretly recorded by Oakland County Probate Court Administrator Edward Hutton, highlighting Ryan's alleged racist and homophobic behavior. She's made it a living, in the past 6 years. I mean, it's been terrible, explained Hutton. It's cost me relationships. I think it's affected my health, and they can't sleep as well. He continued, I just want to make it right, adding, I haven't filed a lawsuit. I'm not looking for a payday. I want to keep my job and do it in peace, and I want the people in Oakland County that come to court to get a fair shake, to have their day in court, and to have an unbiased tier of fact. Let's see. In the clips, Ryan could be heard making remarks regarding race and sexuality. I can honestly say that, okay, I'm not systematically racist. I'm a new racist. I never was, but now I am because you're shoving this stuff down my throat, making allegations that you don't know anything about. You're telling me who I am if you never even met me. F you, she exclaims in one. So,
wow,
yeah, that's crazy.
Well, Bradley, I don't know if she should keep her job either.
But I've got a little more. It says, from England, if you're black from any other country, you're doing way better. If you're an American black person, then you're a lazy piece of crap, she says in another. So,
wow.
Yeah, she got kind of detailed. I could keep going, but I think that pretty much
sums it up.
Yeah.
You know what? I mean, if you're saying that, you probably shouldn't be a judge. I'll just be honest. Yeah, she has to go, man.
Well, you want me to tell you what and Janice Roden says, good morning, guys. Good morning, Janice Roden. How you doing? As Janice is one of our favorite viewers. Stephen Castadorf, Janice Roden, Christy Watts. They're all on here. Gideon Jarvis.
It's about time. We missed everybody.
Yeah. They're used to you being late, JJ, and the show's starting right now.
Gideon's there waiting for our football picks, I'm sure.
Yeah, I guarantee you he is. So as you sat there, what really stood out to me about that story is the name of the radio station, WXYZ. They put a lot of thought in that, didn't they?
I mean, it's very easy to remember.
So let's go next. Blind draw.
Here we go.
Green River killer transferred from state penitentiary to county jail.
Oh, yeah. So the Green River killer, Gary Ridgway, was booked into the King County Jail in Washington State Monday morning. The reasons for the transfer are unknown, according to reports. Fox 13 in Seattle reported that Ridgway, who pleaded guilty in 2003 to murdering 49 women in King County from 1982 to 1998, was booked into the jail just after 10:40 a.m. on an institutional hold put in place by the King County Sheriff's Office. The notorious serial killer was serving 49 consecutive life sentences at the Washington State Penitentiary in Walla Walla without the possibility of parole.
Wow.
That is crazy. I didn't know he was that brutal. I mean,
well, I knew that, but I didn't know that. I didn't know it's 2003 whenever he got caught.
yeah. It says he pleaded guilty in 2003, so from 1982 to 1998. So that's an interesting when he did get caught. I mean,
that's a 16-year window of not getting caught. I don't know, man. That's a weird one just to transfer that guy to the county jail, but as long as he's locked up, that's all that matters.
Unless some people wanted to call in some favors to have him transferred to the county jail, so something bad could happen. I mean, because people are known to do that.
Well, as you're sitting there, it definitely surprised me with the move. But let's go to our next blind draw. A man was so tired of dating apps that he put up a billboard with his information on it. Said he's gotten messages from all over the world.
Now, I thought this one was a pretty interesting one. Yeah, this individual, he got tired of the dating scene. His name is David Klein. He was tired of dating apps, so he put a billboard with his information on it. The 28-year-old from Philadelphia says he's gotten messages from people all over the world. His friends donated money to help him put up the billboard and love the idea. So dating app fatigue is real, and people are taking a break from swiping and finding other ways to meet their soulmates. While some might join running clubs or do speed dating, others are getting more creative and outrageous. And in this case, David Klein initially only wanted the billboard as a funny thing to do, but the 28-year-old decided to try to find a date, partly due to his frustration, and he ended up getting a lot of people reaching out to him.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like it was effective, right? Now he's got a pool to choose from.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd want that big of a pool. That's when you put your information out there like that, not everyone who's going to contact you wouldn't necessarily be the most sane individuals either. So
that's true 100%.
Well, it says it's a simple yet straightforward billboard.
Have you? Let me ask you this.
Okay.
Have either of you ever used the dating app?
I've used one before, yeah.
Way, way back in the day, more like dating site. I don't know if there were a lot of apps back then.
Yeah, a long time ago. But I'd rather have a conversation with somebody in person, because the thing about them dating apps is, I have a friend that showed me her profile once, and she had 400 messages in her phone. And I'm thinking, like, Jesus Christ, like that's unbelievable.
Well, back in the day, Bradley, I guess I have twice. I did back in the day whenever. Do you remember the old, I forgot what it's, web TV?
Yes.
That little box that had a keyboard with it, and you just go in chat rooms and talk.
I do. I never had it, but I know what you're talking about. I know people who did.
And then of course, I spent a short period on Tinder, and it was just situation. At the end of the day, I was getting blown up, and I just spent too much time answering messages, so I had to get rid of that. Bradley,
I'd say Bradley is probably in the same boat once upon a time in his past.
Oh yeah.
He was a certified player.
So
I couldn't even log on to my computer. Back in the days when you walked to a desktop and.
Well, here we go. Let's see what else we got.
Here we go.
Attorney for police officer involved in Tyreek Hill case speaks out, JJ.
Here we go. This is another good one. So one of the Miami police officers involved in the detainment of the Miami Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill was placed on administrative duties Sunday while the Miami-Dade Police Department investigated his actions. Now, attorneys for the officer are arguing that such a move was premature and requesting that their client be returned to his usual role. And this says, we call for our client's immediate reinstatement and a complete, thorough, and objective investigation, as Director Daniels has also advocated. Attorney Ignacio Alvarez and Israel Reyes said in a news release Tuesday, our client will not comment until this investigation is concluded and the facts are fully revealed. I mean, regardless of what facts that you reveal, I mean, that visual evidence, I mean, it's kind of hard to argue that.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. You know, in Tyreek Hill's situation, he could have, you know, when the guy was knocking on the window, he could have rolled it down and just got the conversation over with, instead of saying, you know, don't touch my window like that, and then rolling the window up. And whenever they're knocking on the window, I mean,
that guy right there, I promise you, they're making a mistake if they return that guy to duty, because you can tell that guy's going to do something that's going to, you know, step over the line. You could just tell with his attitude, the type of person. Now, hopefully this situation right here, guys, you know, teaches him, you know, maybe he can learn from this moment. But, you know, if he don't learn from this moment, he will do something that will be newsworthy in the future.
Yeah.
You know, yesterday we were talking about different shows, and we mentioned Dan Le Batard. And I started thinking, like, you know, I bet he has some good coverage, because his show centered out of Miami.
Yeah.
I went and watched yesterday's morning show after we got off the air, and he had a whole thing on it, and he had a different video that I hadn't seen yet. It was from another body cam, and it's when they realized who they had pulled over, and this was already after they had him on the ground, after they'd had him in a chokehold. And you hear one cop, and it's from a distance. He's talking to another cop. And he said, you know who that is, right? So that's one of the Dolphins' star players. And the other cop looks at him and just goes, "Oh, F," you know. And it was like you could just hear the realization, "Uh-oh, we've messed up." The Drew also that he was referring to, I found out it may have been Drew Rosenhaus.
Yeah.
It was also being the director of Dolphins security who works with the police there. His first name is also Drew.
Oh, okay. So it could have been either one of them.
Could have been either one, and they both showed up because Le Batard interviewed Drew Rosenhaus.
Yeah,
about the situation yesterday too.
Well, so Bradley doing some in-depth homework.
Hey,
how about that?
Bradley comes through in the clutch.
Yeah, so I went through all that yesterday, and really, I guess what it comes down to is that they made the comment about him speeding. Maybe he was speeding, but he basically said, but that area of Miami is not exactly one that's easy to be going too fast in. With all the traffic congestion.
Well, as we move on, let's see if Bradley has done any homework on this case.
Uh-oh.
Sean P. Diddy Combs ordered to pay $100 million in sexual assault judgment.
In the latest setback for Sean P. Diddy Combs, or Puff Daddy, whichever he likes to go by these days, a Michigan inmate has won a $100 million default sexual assault judgment against the embattled producer and entrepreneur, who has been slammed with multiple sexual misconduct allegations over the past year. According to Detroit's Metro Times and court documents, the award was issued Monday by a Lewanee County Circuit Court judge following a temporary restraining order against Combs granted to Derek Lee Cardello Smith, who described as a Michigan inmate known for his long history of challenging the judicial system with civil lawsuits. The lawsuit claims that Sean P. Diddy Combs drugged and assaulted Cardello Smith in 1997 at a party in Detroit. The judge set out a payment schedule of $10 million per month starting October the 1st.
Wow.
That is insane.
That is crazy, Bradley. But you know, a lot of these rappers in the 90s are getting caught, you know, and you know, I think a lot of it is they was used to that life, and now that they're getting older, they can't let that life go, and maybe they're taking steps that they shouldn't to continue that life, you know.
And I would imagine it's a lot harder to live that kind of life in today's age, where there's so many phones that exist and so many little portable cameras that you can that you can get, and like so many recording devices that you can hide. I mean, I would imagine how hard it is to even fly under the radar today.
Yeah, you know, you have a lot more eyeballs and camera lenses and stuff watching you today than you did in the 90s.
I still don't know. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, listen, if you're P. Diddy, you know, you shouldn't have to sexually assault anybody because, you know, I mean, you're a millionaire, you got anything you want, you know, you should be able to draw, you know, anything, you know, any girl you want, you could basically have if you just put in a little work.
Yeah, absolutely.
OJ was able to pull in women after he may or may not have.
Yeah, allegedly.
After he allegedly committed murder. And I mean, you hear and see the stories. OJ was showing up at restaurants with like 5 different women at once.
Well, they let's see what else. We got one more blind draw.
Uh-oh.
NASCAR has finalized a new charter agreement. Team co-owner Michael Jordan will not sign it.
Now, this is an interesting one. So NASCAR is in a stalemate with MJ, and how it ends could potentially get very messy for both sides. After more than 2 years of contentious negotiations over a new revenue agreement, NASCAR last weekend finally got 13 organizations, all but 2, to sign a new deal. So the agreement was reached less than 48 hours before NASCAR's playoff opener at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and multiple teams told the Associated Press they feel pressured to take what was presented as a take-it-or-leave-it final offer with the clock ticking on the deadline to sign. This may not be the win NASCAR would like it to be. Who did not sign the agreement? Jordan and the 23 racing team he co-owns refused to sign the deal Friday night. Front Row Motorsports, a much similar organization, surprisingly took the same stance as the high-powered 23 racing team. So it's the 23 racing team and Front Row are the only 2 current chartered organizations that did not sign extensions that run through 2031 because of non-disparagement clause NASCAR added to the latest offer. Almost none of the teams that signed are willing to talk on the record about the negotiations and how they eventually gave up on 3 of their critical demands. 23 is largely represented in a charter flight with NASCAR by co-owners Denny Hamlin and Jordan, and they both arrived at Atlanta with 2 types of pages of notes he read to reporters, and let's see if we can find them. It says, Polk described the fight with NASCAR as David facing Goliath, with NASCAR essentially threatening to eliminate the charters if the deal wasn't accepted by midnight. They may have felt pressured and complied to sign the agreement. And then it says, what do the teams want? The teams have always wanted 4 things out of the charter negotiations: a larger share of the revenue, a seat at the table for governance issues, a cut on the business deals NASCAR doesn't use as a team's drivers' likeness, and most importantly, the charters to become permanent, looking for stability. So I really don't think that they're asking for very much. I mean,
don't you?
No, I don't think so, because I can imagine how much money that NASCAR generates from that standpoint. I would say that, just asking for a little bit of share of the revenue, a seat at the table, and, a cut on the business deals that NASCAR does on their behalf.
What would you call much in?
I don't think that's much. I mean, you're
basically asking for half of everything.
NASCAR wouldn't be able, where would NASCAR be if it wasn't for the people that's racing, the teams?
Yeah, but other teams that would step in, JJ.
Yeah, and you do understand that, it takes money to run a company too.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, NASCAR has to pay all their workers, everything like that too, and then give a share to the owners.
I mean, the teams, the owners,
the owners.
I'm cool with that.
It's basically you marrying somebody and them saying, well, I want half. Well, okay, then now your half, you got to still make sure that the house is took care of, that all the bills are paid and all that. So where does that leave NASCAR?
I would want to look at the numbers to see exactly how much money that they're generating. And then if I saw how much money they were generating, I could be like, well, okay, if NASCAR is making this much money and they're only giving away this much, then it's almost like the UFC. I mean, they got over 500 employees, and
I mean, I'm not saying it shouldn't happen. I'm not saying that. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know the numbers, but I would, like everything that you just said, it sounds like to me they're out. I mean, that's not asking for little. That's asking for a lot. You're asking for half of everything, and you're asking for a seat at the table. So you're asking for power and money. So
I would say if they're asking for that much, there has to be some sort of reasoning why. Like there must be some sort of numbers there that we're not seeing. That we're not seeing.
Yeah, it's called being greedy.
Well,
they're already making a ton of money.
Well, it's like the UFC, being sold recently for $4 billion, but the amount of money that they pay for their fighters, doesn't even cover the cost of a camp.
I'll say this, like Michael Jordan's race team, 23 Racing, is always going to have like a lot of sponsors just because they want to be associated with Jordan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Front Row Motorsports is a bit of a smaller team. So I find that one to be a bit more interesting. They're not as stable, you know what I'm saying? Like NASCAR is one of those organizations where sometimes teams fold and they're around for a few years and you never see them again. It'll be very interesting moving forward. I don't know, JJ, have you ever been to a NASCAR race?
No, but I've heard it's a pretty fun experience. I mean, if you can handle the sound, if you can get past how loud it is at the NASCAR place.
Well, I mean, what I'm saying is like, it's a massive undertaking. Every race is huge as far as event staff, crowd management. You have all of that. I know a lot of the stadium stuff employs a lot of that, but still, sorry, I'm feeling a little bit congested today, but I can see where NASCAR is also like, well, we want to be able to keep paying these people too.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I would love to see the numbers to see exactly like how much they're profiting and like how much the teams are making and
I guarantee you it takes a lot more staff to run a NASCAR race than it does a football game. I can say that. You go to Indianapolis Motor Speedway and that thing is 2 miles long or 2.5 miles long.
Well, I don't know. I don't know where I stand on this, but as we sit here, guys, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about statistical leaders as well as we're going to pick games this week. So, guys, make sure you come back, and I'm going to show you how brilliant I am and how not so brilliant these two are. So make sure you guys come right back and join us for Pick 'em here on the Startup Morning Show.
In America, what does that mean? It means jobs. It means craftsmanship. And when it comes to Vaughan Bassett furniture, it means value. And Kemper recognizes that. That's why they've dedicated an entire gallery to Vaughan Bassett. Made in America. See the quality. And now, see the price. Come see your favorite Kemper store in Hazard, London, or Somerset.
Bruce Walters Kia. By now you know Kia is a great vehicle, and you know they come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. So why should you buy from Bruce Walters Kia? At Bruce Walters Kia, we're going to change your oil for free for life. And what you do with that money you save is up to you. Come check out the 2022 Kia Carnival and the 2021 Kia Sorento. Only at Bruce Walters Kia in Pikeville. Or shop us online at brucewalterskia.com.
Award-winning tire shop that focuses on customer service that's family-owned and family-operated. Stop by and see our friends Jeremy and Chasta at Punk's Tires. If you have a hectic work schedule and you're looking for a non-stressful, convenient way to buy tires, take advantage of Punk's Tires Appointment Saturdays. If they don't have the tire you're looking for, they guarantee it to have it the next day. Punk's Tires can take care of all your needs in tires, wheels, wheel alignments, brakes, rotors, minor mechanic work, and more. They'll treat you like family from the second you walk through the door. Come see us in Virgie, Kentucky, or give us a call at 606-639-TIRE. That's 606-639-TIRE.
Ready to rev your engines and hit the trails on October 10th through the 13th at the 23rd National Trail Fest in Gilbert, West Virginia. With miles of award-winning trails, sanctioned drag racing, live music, and thrilling poker runs, there's nonstop excitement for everyone. Indulge in mouth-watering food and discover unique finds from our vendors. Located in scenic southern West Virginia, it's the perfect escape from it all.
So we are back here on the Startup Morning Show. This segment brought to you courtesy of Freddie Lewis for Pike County Commissioner. For a better Pike County, vote Freddie Lewis. JJ Pruitt, Bradley Dameron, Darryl McCoy here, guys. As we get started, we're going to go over statistical leaders first, and I'm trying to pull it up here. Let's see, here we go. All right. Guys, can you guess who is the leader in the mountains in passing yards?
Well,
and Bradley,
I know.
don't cheat.
Huh?
Don't cheat.
I mean, I know because I put it up.
Okay, who is it?
Is Max Pelfrey.
Yeah, Max Pelfrey for Hazard, 812 passing yards. Rhett Holbrook, 744 from Boyle County. Brady Johnson, 653. Now, guys, these are the stats that was if they wasn't reported by Tuesday, September 10th, these, your stats will not be updated this week on here. So, if you got a couple more touchdowns or something, if you had this week and your team hasn't put their stats up yet, then you're probably not going to get credited for them in this week's statistical leaders.
Which goes to show the importance of getting stats out to the media at the time. Can I do a quick thing on that? And I'm not going to say which team because I don't want to call them out and don't want to damage any relationships we have with them. There was a team that last week, it was Friday morning, the day of their next game, before the stats went up on the KHSAA site.
Now what?
There was a team last week that we cover on the Kentucky side. They played a game the weekend before, and they didn't update their stats on the KHSAA site until that Friday, the next week.
Yeah,
a week later.
Well, there was some that didn't have them until yesterday, the week before. There was one team that didn't, and the other thing, yesterday they put the last 2 weeks on there. But, I mean, it don't surprise me because there is some teams that don't have any on there. Some teams will, take and leave certain games out. The ones that really irritate me are the ones that didn't play well and they decide not to put them stats up that week.
Yeah, those are always aggravating. And it's like, come on, guys. You're hurting your kids is what you're doing. That's all you're doing is you're hurting your kids.
Yeah. Now we will do this on a weekly basis, and hopefully next week, the stats will be added. So, just so for people to know, we'll update them as the week goes on along, as the season goes along. So we'll make sure that them stats get up there. But right now, these was the ones that submitted by September 10th, and it's hard for us to go back and redo it. Now if there was a mistake and your stats was up, then we'll try to make sure that's corrected. But if your stats wasn't up there, then it's hard for us to keep going back and changing. We'll get it the following week. So now as we sit here and look, I'll bring them back up here, and I'm trying to answer, and these two ain't giving me much talking points on it. So, I'm trying to do something here, and but I'll bring it up here. The completions, Max Pelfrey also leads in completions with 50, passing TDs. Rhett Holbrook leads with 8 passing TDs. Now, A.J. Johnson, Landry Collette, Caden Johnson, Devin Maynard, and LeBron Strader. A.J. Johnson, Landry Collette both have 7. Caden Vance has 6. Devin Maynard has 6. And LeBron Strader has 5. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Shelby Valley's Brady Johnson should be up there too, but I think he's missing this week's stats. So, we'll try to make sure that his is updated in the following weeks. Gavin Johnson leads in receptions with Hazard with 20. And if you haven't seen this kid, he is a playmaker. We told you before the season, Anderson Loffer was the real deal, and he's showing it as he's got 18 receptions on 3 games so far. And then the name that I like seeing on here is Noah Kilburn, because Noah will get passed up in all these stats, but it's good to see him, on top right for the moment, Bradley.
Yeah, and I'm glad to see him on there too. And we know he's going to get passed up just because the young man is not able to play now. But he deserves his recognition to be up there right now for what he's done so far at this point in the season.
Well, that's something, we talked yesterday. Noah's a Division I wideout, now Landry Collette, he's still got pieces to work with, but it'll take a dip in Landry's numbers too, because Landry should have had astronomical numbers, and he still will have astronomical numbers, but it'll definitely hit him hard not having that big target in Noah Kilburn.
Yeah, I mean, having the weapon like that, when you lose that, there's gonna be an adjustment period too for Leslie County to figure out everything.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. And as we move on here, receiving yards, Gavin Johnson for Hazard also leads that, 327. Anderson Loffer, 317. So just 10 yards behind him for that top spot. Then Thomas Crawford is third with 269. As I'm sitting here trying to look, Hazard's got 3 receivers in the top 10 in receiving yards in the Mountains. And Connor Holbrook, Gavin Johnson, and Javion White.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So receiving TDs, Thomas Crawford leads with 5 for Boyd County. Gavin Johnson has 4, and Noah Kilburn has 4. So Noah Kilburn tied for second in receiving TDs. Rushing yards, Zach McCourt for Johnson Central, 495 rushing yards on the season. Andrew McCutcheon for Betsy Lane, probably the most unsung hero of the Mountains. He has 492, so 3 yards behind McCourt. Dalton Elliott for Prestonsburg has 428. Devin Maynard, quarterback for Martin County, 416 rushing yards. And let's see, Caden Gibson, 391. I got to see this kid in person yesterday. Caden Gibson, he's the Lightning to Gavin, or I can't remember the Combs kid's first name. Connor Combs, maybe. But, them two are a terror in the backfield there at Perry Central. I can't wait this week against Bell County to see how the Commodores perform. Hopefully, they'll hold ground and they get that win. We'll see them move in probably top 3 in the top 10. Then Memphis Blankenship has 390 rushing yards. He's 7th. Landon Yoke from East Carter, 376. Jeremiah Austin, 370. And Tyson Salmons, quarterback for Greenup County, 368 rushing yards. Tyson Salmons will be up around that top 2, top 3 before the season's over too, Bradley.
Yeah, he's going to get up there. That it'll be interesting. Tell you, the other thing's going to be interesting. Darryl, Kentucky's kids have that 1 week head start. As the season goes on, you'll see a few of our West Virginia guys start chipping in there. You don't see too many of them now, but
yeah, I sit here. We see Belfry's Hunter Hilton leads the Mountains in tackles with 45. Eric Chapman for Boyd County has 44. Martin County's Crayson Lafferty, 41 tackles. Garrett Howard from Letcher Central, 39. And Dalton Matney, the son of legendary coach Jim Matney, 35 tackles. And he had 17, if I'm not mistaken, last week. So big shout out to Dalton for what he's doing. Lucas Howard also having big games there at Paintsville. So I'm sitting here trying to look in West Virginia and see. I mean, West Virginia.
The only two that I saw that I can remember, Caden Vance appeared for passing touchdowns, and then Kyler Kennedy for receiving yards.
Okay, did so Tug didn't
no one in there yet. Preston May is just out of the top 10 in completions.
Okay.
When we were adding some last minute ones when the stats came in kind of late, he actually was bumped down off the list, but he's just out of that.
Well, the definitely impressive list there. Big shout out to them boys for getting that done. And guys, that's going to bring us to Pigskin Pick'em here, startup morning show version here. So as try to bring up the slate of games this week.
While you're bringing that up, I want to talk about our Survivor picks yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah. JJ.
You picked about the worst one you could pick.
Well, we already get beat?
Huh?
I said we already get beat?
No.
Well, why is it the worst pick if we haven't gotten beat yet?
Do you understand how the Survivor League works?
Okay, so you pick a team and you're basically betting on them to run the table?
No, you pick a team and they got to win this week.
Okay.
All right. And if you pick that team and they win, you advance till next week. Okay. If they lose, you don't advance. The game's over for you.
Well, I mean,
all right.
It's not over just yet. And
you pick Belfry over Southwest Pulaski.
I don't know who Southwest Pulaski.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, they are a 30. Let's see here. Let me get the number. No, they're a 17.5 point favorite over Belfry.
So, is it a home or away?
Away. So we'll see if JJ's still in it on Saturday.
Hey, I got to go with Belfry. Come on now.
There you go. But you could have picked Belfry another week and picked a smarter game this week.
No, so I'm rolling with them.
There you go.
Rolling with the Pirates.
Yeah, JJ says two to back, spit. If you ain't for the Pirates, you ain't worth a.
My mother's watching.
Yeah.
My mother's watching.
So guys, we're gonna go into our games here this week. We'll start out Ashland versus Bardstown, and we will let JJ pick first.
I'm gonna go with Ashland.
All right. Who you got, Bradley?
I've got Ashland.
I'm taking the Tomcats too. Estill County versus Bath County. Games at Bath County.
I'm gonna go with the home team.
You're going with Bath County?
Yeah.
I'm going with Estill.
I'm going with Estill too. Estill is a 34.5 point favorite.
I've seen some crazy things happen.
All right. The Bell County versus Perry Central.
Perry Central.
All right.
Perry Central.
Bell County. The Bell County is a 21.5 point favorite, and the game is on Log Mountain.
Oh, well, that's tough.
Yeah.
Come with the upset here to Commodores. Yeah. Come on, Commodores. Maybe look smart.
Listen, I would very well love to see the upset. You know, Perry Central's our guys here in the coverage area. Definitely hope they go down there and get the victory. I always say back in the day, I remember Belfry going there in the playoffs to play Bell County, and they always had a saying that says something like, you check in, something like check your bags in, but you don't check out of Log Mountain or something like that. But really neat environment to watch a football game. Betsy Lane versus Knott Central.
Betsy Lane.
Betsy Lane.
We'll go with Knott Central.
All right, JJ. Betsy Lane is a 27.5 point favorite.
Them polls, they don't mean nothing. Yeah, who's making that list?
So Phelps versus Bland County, Virginia.
I'm rolling with Phelps.
Well, I'm going to go with my heart. I'm going with Phelps.
I'm going to go with the Hornets, too, in this. They're a 12.5-point favorite.
I thought I
over
was the only
Blaine
one that was
County.
going to pick them.
Johnson Central versus Breathitt County, the Riverbank boys, and this game is in Breathitt County.
I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
going with Johnson Central.
I'm still going with Johnson Central. I think they win that one by a couple scores at least.
Johnson Central is who I'm picking too. They're a 33.5-point favorite. Now, Greenup County versus East Carter.
Greenup County.
That's a tough one, but I'm going with Greenup.
This one's in Grayson, so I'm going to go with East Carter in this one.
That's a
Greenup County is a 7.5-point favorite, though.
Well, 7.5 points, not that much for Massey, so.
It's on the road, too. So
It is on the road.
Morgan County versus Fairview.
Fairview?
I'm going with Morgan County in this one.
So,
what about you?
I'm going to go Morgan County. Morgan County is a 16.5-point favorite.
I'm curious to see what the biggest upset's going to be, because there's been a couple on that list that you said was like a 20-point favorite, 16-point favorite. Do you think there will be at least one upset on that list?
I don't know. We'll have to see.
We'll have to find out on Crunch Time what your picking is.
Yep. Fleming County versus Rowan County. Fleming County is who I'm picking.
I'll go with Fleming as well.
I'll go with Fleming also.
They are just a 7.5-point favorite. Letcher Central versus Hazard.
Hazard's pretty hot right now.
Yep.
I'm going with Hazard. They're 3-0, right?
They are 3-0.
Yeah, I'm going with Hazard.
This is a really good game.
Hazard's been playing lights out.
Yep. And we will be doing this game. So
this is a really big game. I'm going with Hazard, but it could go either way.
Man, it being at Hazard's playing awful good right now. I'm gonna go with Letcher though. I'm gonna say Letcher gets the win on the road.
I could see it.
Yeah, they're a 13.5-point favorite. Yeah, the Clinton County versus Jenkins.
Oh, my heart says Jenkins, but I think I'm going to go with my mind here.
I'm going with Jenkins.
I'm going to go Clinton County. Clinton County is a 40-point favorite.
Jesus Christ.
So the Leslie County versus Harlan.
Leslie County.
I'm going to go Leslie County too. They're a 33.5-point favorite. Prestonsburg versus Lewis County.
Prestonsburg's got a solid record right now, don't they?
They're 3-0.
Yeah, I'm taking Prestonsburg.
I'm going with Prestonsburg in this one.
Yeah, they got a lot of momentum, and they got a new young coach that's.
I'm taking West Hager and the Black Cats. They're 20.5-point favorite. Russell versus McGoffin County at McGoffin.
McGoffin.
I'm taking Russell. Russell's a 26.5-point favorite.
Well, you know what? We're hoping for the Hornets in this one.
There you go. The Martin County versus Paintsville, and probably the smallest spread of the week.
It's at
the Rock.
Doesn't Martin County have a couple of new players coming this weekend?
Yep, they got Peyton Davis and Parker Watts.
I'm looking for a lights out performance from Parker, and I said 2 touchdowns and at least 100 yards, 110 yards receiving. I think Martin County will get it.
What you got, Bradley?
I'm picking Martin County too, but I wouldn't be surprised if Paintsville wins.
Now, Martin County is I'm going to take Martin County too. I think this game's going to be huge. Bones Lafferty led the state in tackles last year for Paintsville as a freshman in Class A, and now he plays for Martin County. I know they've been some ugly stuff put online, and I guarantee you he's going to come out with a lot of motivation. So, I think Devin Maynard is a freak. Probably him and Tyson Salmons are the 2 freakiest quarterbacks that we got in the mountains. They'll run over you or they'll use their arm to throw a 80-yard bomb. So I'm gonna go Martin County. Boyd County versus Mason County at Boyd County.
I'm taking the Lions.
I'm gonna take Boyd County too in that one. They're 8.5-point favorite. Pike Central versus Powell County at Pike Central.
I'm going with Pike Central in this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the home team.
I'm gonna go Pike Central too. 13.5-point favorite.
Did you say Jaden was gonna be playing for Pike Central?
Huh?
Did you say Jaden was gonna?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is he gonna make his debut this weekend?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
All right. Here's a good one. Raceland versus Pikeville.
I think Pikeville gets their first win.
At Raceland.
I think Pikeville gets their first win in this one. That's a tough one.
I think Pikeville better get this win, and I think they are going to win. They're 6.5-point favorite, but I think they better get it because if not, they're probably staring at a 0-6 record.
Yeah, but even then, they'll probably still win state.
Yeah. So Southwestern versus Belfry, and we already know who JJ picked. So tell us, Bradley, what you're picking.
I'm picking Southwestern because but I would almost think about Belfry, but I'm not going to take them for a Survivor League. But I'm taking Southwestern this one.
I'm gonna let you catch up. I figure I'm beating you so bad in other areas. I'll let you catch up this one. I'm gonna root for my Pirates. They're a 17.5-point dog. I think they know they should have got that one the other night against Johnson Central, and they'll come back full heads of steam and get this upset.
Yeah, that's a nice homer pick. Before I give my homer pick in a little bit. But
there we go. So as you sit here and and the other thing, Chase Varney, very surprised. He is the leading passer in 3A in Kentucky right now.
I got a question for you. What is the equivalent of the Kennedy Award in Kentucky?
Mr. Football.
Mr. Football?
Oh.
And what about for I know the wide receiver, it's the Randy Moss Award. So
they don't have that. No, it's just Mr. Football.
Oh, and it's only one person gets it?
Yep.
Okay.
It's the most prestigious award in Kentucky.
So how many?
Mr. Basketball, but
so Isaac
and by football it is.
The Dixon kid is. How many people from Belfry have won that award?
One.
Just one? That is impressive.
One. That's a very rare award for any Eastern Kentucky kid to get.
And probably rare for a kid that's not like one of the top few classifications as well.
Yeah. Normally it goes to 4, 5, 6A schools.
I thought David got that.
No,
I kept thinking he got some sort of award.
No, he wasn't Mr. Football.
Wasn't Mr. Football. He got a lot of awards, but not that one.
Yeah. I don't know who got it. David year. That'd been 03.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe Bradley can look that up for us.
I'm already ahead of you. I'm looking for it.
West Carter versus Floyd Central. At West Carter.
Floyd Central. Going with the road team.
I'm going with West Carter.
I'm going to go with West Carter, too. They're a 27.5-point favorite. JJ, you're pretty bad at this game.
The games haven't begun. So, I may be pretty good.
You took a lot of 30-point hits.
I've been trying to tell you to start documenting. Every Monday, we should be okay, these are the teams that JJ picked, that I picked, that Bradley picked.
Do you really want us to do that?
Absolutely, yeah.
Did you say 2003 there, Darryl?
Yeah.
That would have been Brian Brom.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, quarterback ended up going to Louisville.
Yeah, he was went to school at Trinity, and
yeah, he had a great career.
He was a second-round draft pick by the Green Bay Packers.
No,
yeah.
And
Davis Jr. year it was Michael Bush.
Yeah, Michael Bush. Yeah, Michael Bush, probably the best high school player, football player to ever come out of the state of Kentucky.
Didn't he play at Louisville?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say it would be hard to find a better football player than Michael Bush to ever come out of Kentucky, Bradley.
He was a good one. He was a good NFL back too.
Yep.
You know?
I agree. Now we're going over to the Mountaineer State. Let's cross over the river here as Tug Valley versus Logan on the island.
I'm going with Tug Valley. I think Tug Valley.
Even at Logan.
I don't care. I think Tug Valley's in for a very special season, and I think they'll take a loss this year, but I don't think it's going to be this weekend.
I'll say this: I'm picking Tug, but I do wonder about all those road games in a row for Tug. You know, they could catch up to them pretty easily, but I'm taking Tug in this. But it's close.
Yes, Brian Brom. I forgot about that. He is the coach of the Louisville Cardinals now.
Yeah, shout out to Jacob Rutherford.
Yeah, so Jacob Rutherford on top of things there. Yeah. I'm gonna go with Tug Valley too. They're a 6.5 point favorite. I think that is a little low. So I don't know on that one. Then as we move on here, Mingo Central versus Liberty Raleigh at Mingo.
Miners get on track in this one.
I think Mingo Central's going to bounce back finally.
Mingo's a 34.5 point favorite.
I think they've had 2 weeks to figure out like what works best for them and what doesn't work best for them. And I think that this weekend you're going to see a completely different team.
Man versus West Side.
Oh, wow. Where's it at?
Man.
Jesus. Man's defense is really, really good, but then you've got West Side's quarterback that's – I'm going with Man. Just because it's at Man. If it was at West Side, I might pick differently, but I think that between, that running back that Man has and that defense and them playing at home, I think it'll be a close game.
Who you got, Bradley?
I think we'll find out a lot about both teams here. But I'm going to take West Side in a really close one.
I'm going to take the Hillbillies at home. 19.5 point favorite.
I'm like Bradley. I think it's going to be a closer game than what.
I don't think it'll be a 19 point game. I'll say
maybe
that.
Maybe 10 at tops.
Tulsa versus Mount View.
My pick. I already chose it for the Survivor. It's Tulsa.
Yeah. I'm taking the Rebels.
I'm taking the Rebels too.
Are they still the Rebels, or did they get canceled yet?
They're a 27.5 point favorite.
Oh, okay.
Scott versus Sissonville.
Scott gets going this week.
You're taking Sissonville. I'm taking the Skyhawks. Scott is a 37.5 point favorite. JJ is horrible at this, Bradley.
We won't know how horrible I am until you show the graph on the board. We should do that. Not this weekend, but starting next weekend.
He has took 7 30-plus point favorites.
Starting next weekend,
dogs.
We will start documenting every single pick, and we will blow it up on the screen and say, okay, this was my picks, this was your picks, this was Bradley's picks. Let's see who has.
Just remember, we're not going with the spread here, JJ.
There we go.
See, that's what threw me off. That's why I picked so many underdogs. I thought I was.
Is that it? Winfield versus Chapmanville.
I'm rolling with Chapmanville.
My heart says Chapmanville. My head says Winfield. I'm going with Winfield.
I'm going to go with my head, too. Winfield. Winfield is a 30.5 point favorite.
Man, who came up with these statistics?
Massey, I told you.
Yeah, Massey, the Massey ratings.
Oh, yeah, I want to have a conversation with them.
You know who Massey is?
The only Massey that I know is a company that doesn't exist anymore. Or do they still exist?
Yeah, but you know who the owner is, right?
Is it Don?
Yeah.
Don Blankenship, really?
Yeah, he's the one that picks these.
Oh, well, shout out to Don.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
About to do a lot of great things for Mate One.
Don's just sitting there like picking all these guys all across the country. He's looking
right here doing this right here. He's like, Jesus.
He's studying up on Alaska football and stuff.
Get this guy off the air.
I'm just kidding. Spring Valley versus Jefferson.
Spring Valley.
That's a closer one than I want to think. I'm going to. Jefferson's got a lot of speed, man. They got like track athletes. I'm gonna go with Jefferson in that one.
I'm gonna go Spring Valley. They're a 7.5-point favorite at home, but wouldn't surprise me if I lose that one. So, guys, that rounds up the day, and it rounds up the week for us here. As we will get ready for crunch time tomorrow, we suggest everybody tune in for that. As we will.
Are you going to come out to your introduction music again?
No.
It's a pretty good introduction. The only thing that was missing was like some lights.
Yeah.
Like if you'd have had cut the lights off and then have like some.
Yeah, I got
it with the WWE.
You know, we should predict the colleges, like the small. Well, maybe not like but like like at least the UK WVU Marshall games too.
Well, we can do that real quick. I mean, who's
we can't do that.
Oh, because that's crunch time.
Well, it's 10 o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
So we got to hop off here, guys, and we will take and be back with you guys tomorrow night or crunch time, then Friday night football, and then Startup Morning Show will be back at it Monday morning, 8 a.m. We look forward to seeing you guys. For JJ Pruitt, Bradley Dameron, and Darryl McCoy. So long